Hello, I'm Sarah Harris and welcome to Through the Archives, where we take a deep dive into the Smith family's 100-year history. That is a century of creating brighter futures for children and families. Well, I'm joined here by CEO Doug Taylor. He's here to help me uncover some of these gems. And Doug, I guess the first question is, who is the Smith family?
Thanks, Sarah. So the Smith family started in 1922 when a group of businessmen were travelling back from Western New South Wales, stopped at a pub in Parramatta for a meal, and it was Christmas time. They were talking about the presents they were buying for their children, and the conversation led on to thinking about what does Christmas look like for a disadvantaged family? What presents might exist and what's going on for those families? So from there, they decided, let's go and find out what's really happening. They went and did some research and understood what families were experiencing, came back together and decided they would raise funds to distribute presents to an orphanage in North Parramatta, took those presents along, gave them out, and the matron of that orphanage asked, who should I thank? One of them said, thank Mr Smith, we're all Smiths, and the Smith family began from that day.
Incredible. What is that in your hand?
So this is the minute book, and I should get the dust off. It's very old, from 1923 when the organisation began. And in it we have here really a summary of both the first meeting that describes the purpose of, as they called themselves then, the Joy Spreaders, the Smith family Joy Spreaders.
It's quite a name.
It's quite a name, quite quaint when we think about it from today's perspective. But they said their purpose was to conduct a continuous campaign of good cheer and goodwill to brighten the lives, the afflicted, distressed, sick and needy, and restore confidence in those whose misfortune has dealt with.
And they're still anonymous to this day.
To this very day, that's right. So it's wonderful to think that from the outset there was this focus on giving and not looking for anything in return, such that in the Constitution, from the outset for the organisation, there was a rule that said when engaged in the official work of the family, to at no time reveal his true identity.
So ever since that very first Christmas, back in 1922, the Smith family's still been giving.
That's right. That's right. 100 years of giving. So right up to this day, we still give toys and books at Christmas time and make a difference and spread goodwill and good cheer and be joy spreaders. But in 1933, at the height of the Depression, so extraordinary level of human need in the Australian community, the Christmas campaign of giving gifts continued, and it says in a newspaper, it was reported at that time, that the Joy Spreaders, the charitable organisation which distributes toys and hampers each year for the unfortunate, held its annual toy party at the showground yesterday. And it developed into a riot before the gates opened. 15,000 mothers and children, some in arms, gathered outside, but only children were allowed to enter the ground. So, I mean, wonderful to see that giving and responding to need at the time continuing, but I think gives an insight into the extent of need at the height of the Depression.
Well, thankfully things have changed since then. The need is still there, but...
Yeah, absolutely. So we're still absolutely focused on meeting the needs of children, but we've changed a lot in that time. And in fact, I think in our next conversation, we'll be talking about how our fundraising activities have changed over time as well.
All right. Hope you can catch us then.